Okay, hi everyone. My name is Blair Lewis, and the essential question that I'm going to talk about today is as an advanced educational professional, how would you apply data and data analysis to ensure your continuous improvement plan is focused on closing gaps? So I work at a 6A high school in Olathe. We have about 2,000 students, and each year we give the MAP test, and we give it to all of the Algebra 1, Geometry, and Algebra 2 students, and I teach Algebra 2, so you can kind of see how they grow in math throughout high school. Our issue that we have noticed is our minority students, our Hispanic and our African American students, do significantly less well on that test of whether or not they're ready to go to college than our Caucasian students. And without trying to separate them into different tracks, we're trying to work on a way to support those students and fill in the gaps, but not separate them into their own specific class. Because most of those students don't like math anyways, and they don't want another hour in their day for math intervention. Our school also doesn't offer any type of math intervention anyways for like to put them in, but we do offer like Read 180 for students that struggle in reading. So the math department kind of has issues with finding time to support those students without pulling them out of their other classes.
So you said there's not an extra class provided for math intervention, but there is for reading?
Yes, so we have Read 180 for students to work on their reading that they're low or not proficient in their reading skills, but there's no MTSS, at least at the high school level, in Olathe for math students.
So when do the teachers pull the reading students for intervention? How are they doing it?
So those teachers, if the student scores low enough, they put the student in an extra hour of the day called Read 180. And so they have their regular English class, and then they also have this reading class. But the issue we're running into is that these students that are struggling in reading are also the same students that are struggling in math. And so then if you added like a math 180, then that's 4 classes of the day that they have math twice and they have English twice. Then with social studies and science, then they have no elective credits and they don't get to do anything fun in their day, when typically that's the part of school that they enjoy the most is the elective classes.
So that extra hour is for elective classes, basically, so they're just replacing it with the reading class?
Yes, so they would take away like an art class or a FACS class or Woods, something like that, and they would put this reading intervention with the goal of them not having to be in it for forever, just for that year, just for that semester.
Right.
Could you possibly get para support, maybe to push in to support those lower students within your class?
I would love
You
that.
That's
We
something
have
that could be-
paras, but typically you have to have at least 5 special ed kids in your class in order to get a para support, or you have to have an ED student to have para support. And typically my students that are struggling they don't fall into the IEP category, or they've been undiagnosed, in my opinion. And they don't necessarily have the IEP tag, but they've gotten to a high enough level of math to where they are struggling.
Right.
So I guess what I'm trying to get advice on is how can I differentiate throughout the hour of my day, because we have a modified block schedule. So we have 3 days that are regular 50-minute class periods and then 2 days that are an hour and a half block periods. So how can I modify or differentiate my instruction without saying like, here, these kids go over here, these kids leave, but still support the gaps that they have?
Maybe different projects you do, you could have everyone doing the same project, but have various levels within that, with maybe some extra support provided, and just kind of the same project, but different components of it that make it a little differentiated for students would be one idea.
I love that.
pair them up maybe with a higher learner, someone who's already mastered the skill, pair them up with a peer so that they can maybe do rally coach. We do a lot of pagan strategies in our district. So maybe doing different types of structures where they're teaching each other.
Mm-hmm.
That could help.
Are there students maybe in more advanced classes that could come and help?
Yes,
Because I remember
actually.
when I was in high school, I struggled a lot with math, and maybe I was a freshman or sophomore, and one of the senior students would help me. But of course, this was after school, though, so it was kind of like tutoring, but it was, during, well, while I was at school, anyways.
But I really like that idea. So thinking about, like, I teach regular Algebra 2, but we also have an advanced Algebra 2 class that are taught at the same hours of the day most of the time. So, like, to maybe see if there's a day where they're done with a quiz and have a teacher pull in, like, let me steal a couple students just to come in and help. That's a great idea. I love that.
I hate for them to lose their class time, though, but, maybe even a little bit of time, like, after
school, or, like, if they're in National Honor Society and they need hours, or...
Yeah, volunteer hours or something, yeah.
Yes, well, thank you guys so much for all this advice. I'm going to take it back and get to work. I'm already in my classroom, so I guess I could start now. All righty.